To start with everything, so I hope can I quickly have your chart in the chart window with your expertise and everything? So are you guys from ABAP background or something? So do we have anyone who is from non-ABAP background? Can you just type in the chart window? Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, okay, Nag. So I hope everyone is having some kind of a background. Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you so much for your reply. Yeah, so the main reason why I'm asking is, we handle the backend system is completely into SAP. So while retrieving the data and all, we need some kind of idea on ABAP actually. So that is the main reason why I'm asking it. So even for the functional people, so they really doesn't need the backend logic and all. So they have some kind of a technology involved in SAP Fiori so that everyone can use it. Okay, so it's not strictly, like for technical or someone. So even functional guys should also have an idea on SAP Fiori. Okay, so we will deal with both the things like in-depth technical as well as the overall high-level picture of how functional team can also use this Fiori, configure Fiori and everything. Okay, so before we start, I hope you all can hear me clearly and you can see my screen as well. Okay, so if you have any difficulties, just please type in the chat window. Okay, yeah. So this word is Fiori. So it's an Italian word actually. There is a flower called the flower that you can see on the screen. So it's as beautiful as like things. So that's the reason why they want to keep the UI as beautiful as that. Okay, so it's an Italian word which means a flower. Fiori means is a flower type of flower we have. Okay, so they started using this name and with a simple tagline called "Keeping simple things simple." Okay, so that's the main tagline SAP Fiori has brought into picture. Okay, so before we start, what exactly we have in Fiori and all the other things, so I just want to show you my expertise. Okay, so this is Sriram one more time. So I have like almost like 12 years of expertise in SAP directly in programming. So in different things, like I started my career as an ABAPer. Okay, and then I moved on as a CRM technical guy and also CRM techno-functional guy. And for the last 3 years, I was involving with HANA and Fiori all together, the complete development. Okay, so this is my expertise. So from online training perspective, for the past 6 years, I've been teaching from CRM onwards. I started teaching online. So since recent 2 years onwards, I was into training HANA and as well as Fiori data, as well as ODATA, NETWEAVER, Gateway, everything into one thing. Okay, so I have good amount of experience, so which I can share you. Like normal, not like a corporate training kind of a style, but we just go as like hands-on experience. Okay, that's what I always want to keep things on that students. So we'll go as like you once we complete the course, I'm sure you will be having some kind of a hands-on. Okay, so we'll go in that way so that it will be very much easier for you. Okay, so let us start. What is Fiori? Okay, so Fiori is a new user experience for SAP software. Okay, so this is something that started with, so we all know we have SAP GUI screens, right? So there were like so many things, right? If you see in the recent developments, so everything is coming up with like kind of user-friendly user interfaces, right from our mobile apps. So every small thing is coming up with an app. They can do whatever they want with an app, right? So now almost everyone is using a smartphone, like with some good amount of high-speed internet connections like 4G and all these things. So it's pretty much you can handle almost anything from just your finger tap, right? So, but if you see in our SAP screens, like the GUI screens and all, so there were so many complaints from the users perspective, especially. Okay, so to SAP saying that, get rid of the GUI screens, because they have to literally, for every one thing, they have to navigate into separate transaction codes every time, right? Like for example, if you want to have a sales data, and if you want to see an HR related data, and if you want to see something related to finance or purchasing, you literally have to go separate screens, right, every time. So that's main thing. One, they brought different things together like cockpits and all these things, but they want to change the front end. Okay, so SAP has decided to change the front end completely and started with this concept called SAP Fiori. Okay, so it's the new user experience for SAP software. Okay, this is what they're looking into it. So it has all the modern design principles for a completely reimagined user experience. Okay, so now if you see, like, there can different kinds of, like technology involved. Like once you open an app, right, so you will get something like a notification. Okay, so or else you will get some kind of notifications directly on your mobile. So if you connect it to internet, so saying, you got this one, you got that offer here, you can get 20% discount. These are all automated apps, right? So there will be some standard notifications that will be, giving it to the users. Okay, so similarly we can also apply all those kind of modern design principles, the look and feel, the different kinds of colors you want to integrate, you want to modify it. So literally you can do everything like what you're doing with normal apps. Okay, so it also represents, if you see here, SAP Fiori UX represents a personalized, responsive, and simple user experience across devices and deployment options. Okay, so it means that you can design your own personal things. Like for example, one user want, like a background theme as a blue color. Okay, some other user might need, like, they like you have a company logo background. Okay, so something like different kinds of things you want, then you can go easily with Fiori, right? So every user can design their own user interface. Okay, they can design their own personalization. Okay, so everything is possible with SAP Fiori. Okay, so it's very user friendly and responsive. What do you mean by responsive? Okay, so personalized is something like you can design your own UI. Okay, that is what is called as personalization. Okay, so based on the user own settings, they can design their own UI screen. Okay, so similarly responsive, what do you mean by responsive? Okay, so for example, if you open a Fiori app, okay, for in a laptop for example, or on a desktop, and if you open the same page in your mobile phone, okay, so it automatically gets adjusted. Okay, so for example, if you use an iPhone for example, okay, so one person can have like 100 apps, and one person can have only 20 apps, it depends, right? So if you open on desktop, all the 100 apps will be displayed in one screen. Whereas if you minimize it, okay, so it automatically adjusts based on the size, and it will show only limited number of sizes, limited number of apps. Okay, so like that automatically it will adjust based on your response. Okay, so that kind of advantage we also have in SAP Fiori. So based on your devices, okay, so if it is a mobile phone, it will show only limited number of apps. If it is a desktop, it will show a different number of apps. Okay, so don't worry, I will show you in the next like next screens we have. I will show you how the Fiori launchpad or apps looks like. Okay, so I'll show that, don't worry. So it can be adjusted. Okay, and simple user experience. Okay, so you don't have too many things in one thing. Simply, if it is something related to finance, you will have those finance apps. If it is something related to purchasing, you will have those apps related to that. So like that, you have separate things. Okay, so you can go with very simple user friendly experience. You can find it with Fiori. Okay, so based on the things that you select, it only displays those part, so you won't mingle with all the things, and too many things will not be displayed here. Okay, so it's very simple. We can see, once we see the screen, we'll get an idea. Okay, so that's the one thing. And when Fiori was launched, okay, So you can think like, what are these apps? Why can't SAP gives the standard apps, like how SAP gives like standard programs or standard function modules, all those things like that, right? So it says like, why can't SAP displays, like some kind of standard apps? Okay, so in this scenario, Fiori, when Fiori was started, SAP has launched with more than like, 25 related apps. So those are called as waves. Okay, so in the first wave they launched something like 25 apps or something, and again second wave they added some more things. So like that, for every wave they'll release some kind of standard apps. Okay, so for the last year there are almost literally like 360 plus role based apps. So we'll see all those standard apps and all. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the number. It keeps on changing every quarter actually. So whenever they release a wave, so there'll be like different standard apps. So don't worry about the count. The first wave they launched is like 25 plus apps. Okay, so now there are like too many apps actually. Okay, so the main thing is Fiori is for the new user experience. Okay, the users works at the, the client location or wherever it is. So for those people, the SAP Fiori has been integrated here. Okay, so that is for the main thing. So we can also integrate like in, if you want to, like you can create a Fiori app and you can just you can make them available in at least iOS or any Android version. So you can also do that. Okay, so I'll also at the end of the course I'll show you that as well. Okay, you can create your own app and you can use it in iOS or any other Android server or any operating system. You can use it and they can download it from the those devices. Okay, so they can use your custom built app, they can use it. Okay, that sort of provision is available here. So we'll see one by one. Okay, so any questions here? Why they, any questions in this area? Okay, just let me know, or else you can just simply type this. Okay, so if you see here, just for a second, just go through the slide, you'll get some idea over here. Got it right? See, SAP Fiori is here. Okay, so you have different kinds of things here. Supply chain, so asset management, procurement, HR, finance, sales, so whatever it is. Okay, everyone across your client, I mean like everyone across your company, so everyone has this particular access to Fiori. Okay, so all those apps can be integrated here easily. Okay, you don't need to worry like only finance team has this, or only these people have this, nothing like that. Everyone can access here whatever they want. Okay, so from supply chain team they will access their related Fiori apps, and from this team, asset management team, finance team, sales team, so you can create your own custom Fiori apps as well. Okay, so it's not confined to any department, like only it's only for finance, it's only for like a procurement team, nothing like that. You can design or you can create even custom Fiori applications based on your client's requirement. Okay, that provision is also available in SAP Fiori. Okay, so that is where we work more rather than standard applications. So we will work more on adding the new custom built apps. Okay, okay, so we have something like UX strategy. Okay, so what is this SAP UX strategy? Okay, so UX, whenever you see UX, okay, so whenever you see this UX, it means user interface, user experience or user interface, whatever. Okay, so the SAP user experience strategy is aimed at bringing great products to our customers. Okay, so using the principles of design thinking, we maintain our core value of listening to our customers needs and quickly incorporating that feedback into SAP products. Okay, so the main, as we discussed just before, the main strategy to bring up this user interface is to make the customers happy with the like user experience, and so the easy to use and with saving a lot of time for them. Okay, so for example, we have you have a user, okay, at the client location, who has to access like multiple things, like how many sales orders, like how much revenue it got generated, who is that customer. Okay, so for these things you literally have to what you have to do, you have to log into VA03 and check the sales order and pick the customer and go to again KNA, the customer transaction XD03 and all. So again you have to find the customer information. So if you want to see any finance information, again you have to go and check the billing documents. So for everything you literally have to open multiple screens, right? And everything is like wasting a lot of time of the user. Okay, so instead of that, so what we can simply do here is, so you can build a custom Fiori app. Okay, so for example, if you select the customer, you can just quickly bring all the data related to the customer, like sales orders or everything. Okay, so if you click on the sales directly, it can go there. You don't need to open a separate screen or and transaction codes or anything like that. So everything is away with a single click. Okay, so they designed this particular thing in such a way so that it will be so it will add a lot of value to the customers. Okay, so there are three things. If you go for SAP UX strategy, there are three options available in this. Okay, so one, new, and two, renew, and three, enable. Okay, so this has like three types of, this follows three principles. One is new, the other one is renew, and the third one is enable. Okay, so whenever you go with new, that means creating your new custom Fiori application. Okay, so whenever you new means creating a new custom Fiori application. Okay, so you have something called as renew. Okay, so renew is nothing but already you have one standard or any custom Fiori application. Okay, and now you want to renew that. That means extending it. Okay, so you have a standard functionality. For example, for sales related part, you have one standard app. Okay, so you want to use that functionality, and for that you want to add additional functionality to that particular sales related app. Okay, so during that time what you do, so you'll just like our standard programs, how will we do the extension. So we'll copy the standard program and then we will write an extension program to it, right? Extension logic to it, right? So in the similar way, you have these kind of options available. Okay, so what it will do is, once you have a standard or a custom Fiori app already got created, okay, so you can extend your own functionality to it. Okay, that is what is called as extending Fiori applications. Okay, that is nothing but enhancing the existing Fiori applications. Okay, so those things comes under renew. Okay, so the third one is enable. Okay, so enable means, so as we discussed just before, the personalization. Okay, so the users or the customer, whoever using the Fiori app, they can, the users especially, the users can personalize the user interface. Okay, that means, so one sales guy can have the background with green color or some other color. Okay, the finance guy can have something completely into blue color. Okay, they can keep the app here, they can keep their app there, like same like how everyone designs their own wallpaper and the desktop. Similarly, they can personalize their own user interface. Okay, so that is what is called as enable. Okay, so here we will have a couple of things, like UI theme designer is one, and we also have something called as SAP screen personas. Okay, so these are the things I'm going to give you a hands-on as well. It's not just an overview. So screen personas and user UI theme designer in Fiori, we are going to have an hands-on of it. Okay, not just simply going through that as an overview. So you can find you also have very like less awareness outside of this market, like also the less documentation on screen personas. So but we luckily handle couple of projects with screen personas where I can show you all those right from scratch. Okay, so this is the new SAP user interface strategy. I will repeat this. It has three principles. One is new, the second is renew, and the third one is enable. Okay, so the new means the creating your own custom Fiori applications for your client requirements, and renew is like extending the existing custom Fiori apps or any custom existing Fiori apps, any standard or custom. That means extensions, okay, which we call as like enhancements. So here we will call as extending Fiori application. Okay, that comes under renew. And the enable is making the users having their own personalization. Okay, so this is what we have. We have different tools for enable. One of the tool is UI theme designer, and the other one is SAP screen personas. Okay, so just remember these names. These are not something we just get into it, but like just have a strategy or any like overall picture of what exactly is this. Okay, so if you see here, this is how we have it. Okay, so if you use any desktop or laptop, you can have your apps, and I will show you anyways in the screen in the next sessions. So we'll see how the Fiori apps and all looks like. Okay, so you can just simply select any sales order and you can see the whole information there, and you can just save it. You can send a request for approval. You can do pretty much everything. We'll see all those things. So this is how it looks in. If you see here, this is how it looks in a tablet, and this is how it looks in smartphone. So if you see the bigger screens, this is called as responsiveness. Okay, so based on the screen that you're accessing, it automatically adjusts based on the device that you're using. Okay, so for example, if you have all the apps here, like 100 apps, if you have it, it will show 25 apps. Okay, so and also if you minimize the screen here, it automatically adjusts the apps as well. Okay, that will be taken care automatically by the system. Okay, so in these cases you have like different kinds of experiences. Okay, so once you have four, like if you see here, you can see only 4 apps here, right? You can see even more in if you use a desktop, or a couple of things a little bit less compared to desktop is a tablet. Okay, so a couple of things lesser than tablet is a smartphone. Okay, so it automatically adjusts based on the device you use it. Okay, so this is what is called as responsiveness. Still the user friendly, just on a single click, you don't need to literally open everything. So if you have any other links to purchase orders or any finance related information, if you need it, you can just click on it. Okay, so automatically navigates here. You don't need to literally open a window and enter the transaction code and all these things. It's not required. Okay, okay, so we have something like this, which I want to discuss this architecture, like after some, like at least for 1 second. So, but I will just give a brief overview. So now, right, straight away going into everything is like a little bit confusing. So I'll just give you a basic overview of all these things, and from there we'll in the next sessions when we get into the course, we'll see each and everything in depth. Okay, so for simplifying this, so HTML5. Okay, so this is what is the, like we have a standard programming thing here. It's a standard language called hypertext markup language. The latest version is 5. Okay, so we need to have a basic idea on what is HTML5, okay, CSS3 and all these things. So you literally don't worry about that. So we are going as a complete hands-on consultant, so right from scratch. Okay, so you can find anywhere, like completely UI5 and Fiori is completely different. Okay, UI5 is completely a separate like technology that they use. You need to learn a lot of jQueries, JSONs and all the scripting and all. So that is completely different. But from SAP point of view, so we have something called as like the front end part, if you see Fiori. But you should have an idea on what is UI5 and what is Fiori and what is NetWeaver gateway and how you'll fetch the data from the backend. Okay, so here we are going to cover an overview of UI5, not completely into it, but once you get the overview, you can, if you are a developer, then you can easily go into it. Okay, it's not a big thing. You have like so many websites to learn the scripting and all. It's pretty much easy and straightforward. Okay, so from the backend, so once we complete, we have a small mini project kind of a thing. So what we do is right from start, we'll create one custom Fiori application. Okay, and we integrate that with an UI5 application. Okay, from UI5 we'll go to NetWeaver gateway by creating an ODATA service and all. Okay, once we create an ODATA service, from there we will see how to fetch the data from the ODATA service from the backend system. Okay, right now we have the latest server installed, that is on S4 HANA. So there is even more, like gives you a clear picture. Okay, so right from scratch till the end, we will see one complete cycle with a simple project. Okay, so before that, so I just want to give you this architecture basic overview. Don't go into in depth of it right now. So we still have time. We'll go one by one. Okay, so this is the front end where you access your application. Okay, so there should be something called as SAP Web Dispatcher. Okay, so we need this installed. Okay, so but for latest versions, we are automatically getting it. So this will be taken care by the basis team and all. So we don't need to worry. Just get some overview. What is this? Okay, so there is something called as Web Dispatcher. So that is the one which passes on to our NetWeaver gateway. Okay, so and we have something called as our backend server where we can have our SAP Business Suite. Okay, you have all the ECC, CRM, everything in this particular area. This is the above front-end server where you can have your NetWeaver gateway and UI5 applications will be built up. Okay, so finally the database is HANA database. Okay, so why I'm saying let's not go in depth, because SAP Fiori has 3 types of applications. Okay, so transactional, fact sheet, and analytical. We have a like almost like 2 weeks of sessions only on these 3 types. Okay, it's such a huge thing. So I'll just give you a basic idea on that. So in these cases, for transactional related Fiori type applications, you don't need a HANA database. It's not mandatory. But other 2 applications, SAP HANA database is mandatory. For the fact sheets and analytical apps, the HANA database is mandatory. And for the transactional Fiori apps, you don't really need a HANA database. Okay, so just for overview, so that's the reason why I'm not going in depth, because in the latest version, if you see in S4 HANA, all the systems are in one single system, one box. Okay, so here you have a HANA database, right? So you have a business suite like ECC, CRM, separate servers. Okay, so as a backend server, and the front-end server NetWeaver gateway. Okay, so the biggest advantage that I can say frankly is we are going to cover 2 types of deployment in NetWeaver gateway. Okay, so as S4 HANA is very new, so not every client can go for S4 HANA. There are still some small clients which really don't need a HANA and all these things. Okay, so they go with a different kind of a setup. And the latest technologies that some big clients like BP or Shell or those kind of big clients, they will go for always for the latest technology, right? So for those things, you have a separate, like mechanism. Okay, so we will see in both the things. We have both the servers available. We will see in how it works on Business Suite and how it works on S4 HANA. Okay, so everything is installation, but for technically for us, it's only a minor changes. Okay, still the transaction codes are separate. Okay, and you don't need to really worry about that. So if it is the latest server, the NetWeaver gateway is automatically installed in the S4 HANA database related server. Okay, so if it is an old system, the NetWeaver gateway is a separate server and your backend ECC or something is a separate server. Okay, you need to log into the separate server. You'll still use the same transaction codes, but you need to like create some RFC destinations, and you need to maintain those things, relationships and all. That's the additional step, but we will see everything. Okay, so different types of deployment of NetWeaver gateway we'll see, and how to create those OData services is very, very important. Okay, so we'll see those things as well. Okay, so we have some kind of latest technology in HANA. The development on HANA is a little bit advanced, as you might have heard it. Some people might have heard it, like ABAP CDS views. Okay, so I will also show you how to integrate. I cannot explain ABAP CDS because that's again a separate HANA related course, so that takes a lot of time. But what I will do is I'll just use an existing CDS view. Okay, from there till the top of the application, I will show you each and everything in this. Okay, so it's complete hands-on. So once you complete this part, you should be in a position to like get into involved into the real-time applications and all. Okay, so just keep this in mind, just the names. Okay, always keep the names in hand, so once we go into in-depth architecture, you'll understand clearly. The browser, the front end, the system or the device that the user access. Okay, so it should connect to a dispatcher. Okay, so that goes to the ABAP front end server. Okay, so where the NetWeaver gateway settings and the UI5 applications are available. So from there it will connect to the backend system. It can be either your ECC or a CRM or SRM, either any business suite. Okay, so and it goes to the database to fetch the data. Okay, this is just the basic architecture. Okay, so this is the Fiori introduction. So as we discussed till now, we have Fiori solution, the UX strategy relating to SAP Fiori, where we have the new, renew, and enable part. So introduction to Fiori apps, which we'll see in the next sessions. Okay, as we discussed, like there are three types of apps. Like one is transactional, the other one is fact sheet, and the third one is analytical. Okay, so like that we have three types. We'll see one by one. And the architecture, we just saw the basic architecture of Fiori. Okay, the role of SAP UI5. Okay, so what is the role here? So SAP Fiori, there are so many people who always gets, even I got initially confused, like what is this UI5, what is this Fiori and everything. Okay, let us take our mobile phones. Okay, so if you have an Apple iPhone, the operating system is iOS, right? So you will go to iOS and download what are the apps you want. Okay, so for example, you call that as iPhone apps, for example. Okay, so and some other user have another app, like if they goes to Android, if they're running on Android, then it goes to Android and they'll download from the Android Play Store. Okay, so whichever phone you use it, right? One guy use iPhone, one guy use Android, some other Samsung or something, and some other guys use some other phones. Okay, the app that you built, right, is with a single language, Java. Java is must for all those related apps. Okay, so the front end, if you see, that is called as Fiori apps. Okay, the app that you see, the customization and everything, that is called as Fiori. Okay, but the backend, the complete code that generates the Fiori application is based on the UI5 technology. Okay, so UI5, why it has come with UI5 is user interface with HTML5. Okay, so the user interface with HTML5 integration is your SAP UI5 related technology, I would say. Okay, so whatever apps you create, the backend, the code will be written in UI5. Okay, so from there it connects to the NetWeaver gateway, and from there it keeps on going to the based on our installation, it keeps on going to the in-depth of till the HANA database or whichever database you use it. Okay, so we are going to see couple of application like how to create in UI5. So how much an ABAPer is required. Okay, so why I'm saying this, because the more in-depth you go into UI5, you will become a UI developer, not as a like SAP architect role. You'll go as a UI developer. Why I'm saying that is, you will completely focus on Java related things. Okay, so it's a notion. You know about Java, right? We don't need to explain. Everyone knows about Java. It's a notion actually. Okay, so to get out of those things, what we will do is SAP is slowly coming into some things to be utilized with ABAP. Okay, so in the initial days in 2006, if you see like 2004 and 2005 times, so there is no WebDyn Pro ABAP. You might have know that, right? So there is no WebDyn Pro ABAP in 2003, 2004, and all these things. You have something called as Enterprise Portal, which you will develop these web-based applications. Okay, so through Enterprise Portal, you have to use completely Java development. There is no ABAP development involved for developing any portal-related activities. Okay, so slowly because of that, as you know, there are too many things in Java. Then ABAP is their own language, right? SAP's own proprietary language. So they're focusing more on Java. So that's the reason why they came up with NetWeaver, like WebDyn Pro ABAP. Okay, so from 2006, AC6 onwards, the WebDyn Pro ABAP is available. So that using ABAP, you can create your own web-based applications. Okay, so similarly, so slowly they're getting into some things which we'll see one by one. Don't go in depth of it. So major UI5 is a combination of HTML5, CSS3 files. So all some basic things which we'll see one by one. Okay, I'll explain you everything. Okay, so don't worry about what are those. It's very simple. You know all HTML, right? So how simple is that? So will go just with basics of CSS3, HTML5, and we'll see a couple of UI5 applications, and then we'll see how to integrate that with Fiori. Okay, so and also backend is anyways you all from ABAP background, so that's not at all an issue. So you will create an RFC and how to fetch the data, or I will also show you how to fetch the data from HANA database. Okay, so with the CDS view and all these things. Okay, so NetWeaver gateway. What is this NetWeaver gateway? Okay, so any mobile related applications. Okay, any device related applications you have it. Okay, and your system should integrate with the front end of any other web-based related application. Okay, so how will your system connect? Okay, so how so the system data passes the data to the web URL and all these things. Okay, so there are some huge advantages of SAP NetWeaver gateway. So this is like a mediator. Okay, so mediator that transforms the data from the back end to the front end. Okay, to the any mobile application. Okay, so this is what this is what initially it was a separate server. Okay, network gateway is a separate server which has to be connected through some RFC destinations and all. So once it connects, it will fetch the data and pass the data to the front end. Okay, so the ODATA services, the REST services and all what you're hearing a lot, all these things will be available in this network gateway. So just keep those technical names in your mouth so that it will be very easier for us in our next classes. So NetWeaver gateway holds the OData and REST related services. We'll see what are all those things. So just keep the names. Okay, so it's NetWeaver gateway is kind of like a mediator between the front end mobile application and to the back end your SAP HANA database or any other server. Okay, so we'll see that, but the advantage what I'm showing you here is like we'll create this NetWeaver gateway installation and all. Okay, the customization and all we'll see right from scratch how to create RFC and then attach this. Okay, so as we also have S4 HANA, it's straight away integrated in that, so don't need to worry about the connection and all. So right from scratch we will see how to create a new service, assign your OData backend logic or RFC or ABAP CDS view, whatever it is. So assign that to an OData service in NetWeaver gateway, and from here how do you call the Fiori related apps and UI5 applications, everything we'll see. Okay, so this is what I want to just show you this particular part. And if you see the main agenda of the Fiori part, okay, so the main thing is like we have some kind of basic customization. Okay, so I will show you everything from right from scratch, from step 1 till the last step. We'll see one by one how to configure Fiori, and we have something called as Launchpad. Okay, so this is the entry point. This is your home screen to access all your Fiori applications. Okay, the Fiori Launchpad is called as the entry point for all the Fiori applications. So to have this, we need to follow some customization steps. So once you follow that configuration steps, then we can access anything with the Launchpad. Okay, we'll see everything right from scratch here. And once we are done with it, we have something called as security. Okay, so very important in everywhere, wherever you use it. So this security is nothing but like which apps should be accessed by whom. Okay, so if the user is related to a sales department, that user should be confined to access only the sales related applications. Okay, so if the user is related to a finance team, then he or she should be accessing only the apps related to finance. Okay, so if there is someone like manager or someone else, so who should access all across all the apps, then he will have a kind of different roles. So based on that role, they can access that particular applications. Okay, so this is where I said like it's also useful for functional team. So this is very important for functionals rather than our technical team, because they are the one who interacts with the users, will find out who are all the users has need this kind of access, who are all users needs finance related access and all. So we will also see how to create role based apps. Okay, so that is how where we create a roles. Okay, and once we create a roles, then we can assign that to the user ID and we can see that. Okay, so and again, so here we'll see that once we get into like apps and all, this is part of workflow and everything. So we are also going to cover some workflow as well, because like if you see any purchasing department Fiori apps, it's very important. Okay, so based on the purchase requisition approvals and all, so we'll see how to integrate our business workflow with Fiori. Okay, it's very important for purchasing team, even in S4 HANA right now. So purchasing has it in S4 HANA, so it's very important. Okay, we'll see the basics and everything. So as we discussed theme designer, so this is the UI theme designer, where the user can personalize their own screens and everything. Okay, so which we'll see this. So and once, as we discussed, the complete end-to-end data flow. Okay, once we complete the first application and once we complete the whole overall courses, then we'll see. Okay, so some scenarios, as I told you, work more on purchasing department area related applications. So I can show you all those applications, whatever I worked on purchasing part. So I can show you with workflow scenarios to approve the request and all. Okay, so and extensibility overview. This is where everyone will ask you if you are applying for any Fiori positions. So this is where majority of your work will be available. Okay, extensibility. So extending existing apps. Okay, so if you have any purchasing related standard apps, you can just use that particular app and then extend it by creating a new app. You can extend an existing application, right? So like how we have baddies and user exits, where we enhance our standard programs. So similarly like that, you can enhance an existing Fiori applications. In SAP Fiori language, we should call them as extensibility. Okay, so extending Fiori apps is something you can call it as. Okay, so like that we can see everything one by one. So if you want me to show you how the screen looks like, the launchpad. So this is how the Fiori launchpad looks like. Okay, so here, so it's just you have a URL. Okay, so once you get into you have to configure this. Remember, as we discussed just before, we have to configure the launchpad first. Okay, so once you configure and once you log in, this is where you have your apps. Okay, so these are called as tiles. If anyone used any like the phones like Nokia phones previously, they use this Microsoft operating system, right? So they have everything with tiles actually. Okay, the similar concept. So we have here every app is included inside a tile. Okay, so as soon as you click on this, it directly navigates to that particular transaction. Okay, so there you can see is even there are still so many other things. You can just keep your notifications block here. You can do a lot of settings. Okay, so we'll see that one by one. This is how the look and feel of Fiori Launchpad. Okay, so any questions still here? Any questions? Just can you guys type it in the chat window if you have it? Yeah, what are the prerequisite? Yeah, as we discussed, like if you want to go for like a front end related activities, then you really don't need it. So because we are going through everything like HTML5, CSS3 and all. So if you're learning the Fiori directly, like if you see a majority of the people who will not discuss UI5, okay, because they're confined to only Fiori. So during that case, you really don't know what's going internally, right? So for at that point of time, you should be aware of HTML5, CSS3, JSON, jQuery, all these things. Okay, but here from my point of view, you really don't need any prerequisite because we are starting everything right from scratch. Okay, I'll explain you what is HTML5 with some examples, CSS3. Once we are familiar with basic UI5 application, then we'll go to NetWeaver gateway. Okay, so once we complete the NetWeaver gateway and the backend, anyways, you should be familiar with ABAP, right? So for technical guys, they should be strong in ABAP. Okay, so and for the functional people, they really don't require what is going on in the backend logic. So, but the front end and all, they should be aware of all these things. So, are you from ABAP background, Kishore? No, then there's no need to worry because we're going through everything. From right from scratch, so we really don't need it if you're an ABAPer. The whole end to end you can get into it hands on once we complete this course. Okay, yeah, so any other questions? How far it's useful for freshers? Yeah, that's what, as I told you, right? Even if you see in the market, everyone is getting into 2 to 4 years or 4 to 6 years experiences, right? So everyone knows it. So no 10 years guys will come into, like for a smaller roles. There is a huge scope for 2 to 4 years consultants, with some basic hands-on experience that we could discuss here. So yeah, Nag, you have any idea on ABAP, or you already learned ABAP, or like what is this? Okay, it's completely new, right? Okay, that's what, like, see, what I said was like, if you, this is also for functional people, okay, but functional people doesn't know anything in the back end logic, how to write in ABAP and all, right? So they should have some basic idea. So once you get familiarized with this UI5, right? So slowly you can start once we complete this hands-on related course. So slowly you have to extend yourself, like more into UI5 so that, you'll be a front-end developer. So you really don't need what's going on in the background. So if you want to become a front-end developer, you can pretty much happy for that because there are so many openings in the for the front-end UI5 development as well. Yeah, that's what. So if you want to, should I learn ABAP and HANA also? It's not prerequisite, it's not mandatory as I told you, but at least basics of ABAP is, like once you get into in the initially you can get as an UI5 developer. There's no point in it. So, but slowly, you know how the market is, right? There's a lot of competition and all. So whoever gets into UI5 development also learns basic things in ABAP and all slowly, and then they'll get it as a like end-to-end developer. In the future, if you learn that, it should be helpful for you. Maybe after 2 to 3 months of like your practice or learning in UI5. So after that, slowly once you get in, so it will be very much easier for you. Okay. So any other questions? Yeah, for the context, yeah, I'll just show you a slide. Just want to, like rewind what are all the things that we did just now. Okay, so just let me quickly open that screen. Okay, so just want to remind you guys like what we have just gone through. Okay, so just if you see here, like we just gone through my expertise because some people joined a little bit late. So we just gone through what exactly is SAP Fiori, what is the like basic things that we have in SAP Fiori. Okay, so and after that we have gone through like some basic things, how many apps we have. Like don't worry about this number, as we discussed that there are so many apps right now. So the first release that SAP has done, they released with almost like 25 plus apps. Okay, that was the wave one. So from wave 2, wave 3, like they keep on adding, like it's not like a fixed number every time. Okay, so we just gone through this part, and next one is like the overall teams across your landscape of your clients network. So everyone can literally use like whatever they need it based on from different you know based on different departments can access different related apps. Okay, so once you design your launchpad for the user, so they we can restrict based those users can access only limited number of apps based on their department. Okay, and their security roles and all. Based on that, you will define how the apps and all. So it's very easy. It's like defining the things in SAP Fiori is very much easy. Once you how to integrate your backend logic with front-end Fiori app is somewhere which takes some time, which we'll see that. Okay, so after that we just gone through the UX strategy, which is the design principles that we have. The new, renew, and enable are the three things that we have here. So new is creating custom applications completely, and the renew is extending the existing applications, which is called as Fiori extensions. Okay, so and another one is the enable. So enable is the making the users personalize their own screens. Okay, so that is these are the three principles that SAP UX follows. Okay, so we'll see one by one how everything. This is just like look and feel, how it looks in desktop, and simple navigation. Just click on it and you can get the screen here. Okay, so it's pretty much very much easy and user friendly actually. Okay, this is a small architecture that we discussed. We'll just go in depth. We'll go in depth, like architecture, everything, explaining everything. Okay, so we'll see each and everything here. So again, this introduction, which we already covered, and then the main agenda of Fiori. What are the things that we're going to learn? So that is something we have here. So the config overview, launchpad, everything we'll see end to end. Okay, so even if you have any kind of questions or anything, slowly in the future, okay, this is how the look and feel has it. Okay, so this is how the look and feel use it. Just a second. Okay, so this is what it is. So if you guys have any questions or anything, just try to contact info@nextidtraining.com. Okay, so any questions, or else you can use any you can call them directly, or you can use any India number here. You can just WhatsApp them, or in Skype you can contact them with Next ID Training. Okay, so any questions like based on your timelines, if which timelines you have, or any other questions like what to learn and everything, like timings, duration, fees, everything related to your personal questions, just post to info@nextidtraining.com, or else you can reach out to these numbers so that you'll get the final information. And once you can have all the commercials ready, and once we confirm, we'll just go on. I'll show you the server and we can just go on with one by one. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, so any questions as I discussed just now, just reach out to info@nextreadytraining.com. So anything, anytime, you can just WhatsApp them, or else like you can contact them directly for any questions. So we'll discuss once we get the timelines of like what is the time zone, or what are the timelines you need to have. So you can discuss with him, so that I will analyze it and I'll just fix a time based on everyone's confirmed like availability and all. and once we confirm the timings, and we'll just send you an email with everything. Okay, so just wanted to tell you, just like be like free, and for sure you'll have a good time like this. Like I want to give the training always in the underlying architecture. That is where we learn a lot. So this will be like front end to end. We will complete everything. So it's like overall duration is like around 40 hours. So like I'll just go on with whatever I learned. Like I'll just go on with it. I will just show you what are the examples we did in the project works and all. So let's not fix to 40 hours. It might go on like whatever we complete, like based on your availability and all, like 1 or 2 days more with more examples. So even once we complete this, you can reach out to me. I will share my personal email ID once we get into the course. Okay, so slowly we can get into involves if you have any doubts or anything directly. Okay, so initially you just contact info@nextedtraining.com. Okay, so once everything is done, we'll go through one by one. Okay, so finally, one more time, any other questions? Okay, all right. Okay, then thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Please reach out to them. We'll discuss in our next class about all the other things. Okay, thank you so much for your time once again. Thank you.